Picture this. You're high in the freezing, remote expanse of the Tibetan Himalayas, staring at a peak that is just completely unlike any other. For thousands of years, this mountain has absolutely fascinated diverse civilizations. To some, it's literally the home of a god. To others, a gateway to enlightenment. But you know what the most mind-blowing thing about this massive, imposing structure is? Despite its enormous presence, it remains officially unclimbed. Nobody has been to the top. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're diving deep into the profound mysteries of Mount Kailash.
Let's start with a pretty staggering number, 6,600. That is Mount Kailash's height in meters above sea level. Now, okay, it doesn't scrape the stratosphere quite like Mount Everest, but that still establishes a massive, undeniable physical scale right in the middle of one of the most isolated regions on Earth. I mean, the sheer geographic isolation here is mind-boggling. You're talking about days of grueling travel across the high-altitude Tibetan plateau just to reach the base. But honestly, this mountain's global importance isn't actually measured by its height or its harsh environment.
Which brings us to the central anomaly of our explainer today. Why has no one ever reached the summit? Seriously, it is not the tallest mountain in the world, not by a long shot. So why hasn't some thrill seeker simply strapped on their boots, packed their oxygen, and hiked to the top? What actually happens if someone tries? Well, sure, the region is highly remote and fiercely difficult, but the biggest reason it remains completely untouched is something far more unusual than just jagged ice and bad weather.
Section 1. 4 Faiths, 1 Mountain. To understand why this peak remains unclimbed, we really have to look past the physical rock and explore its incredible spiritual gravity.
It's amazing when you think about it. 4 ancient traditions, totally separated by distinct beliefs, languages, and histories, all converge on this single peak. First, in Hinduism, Mount Kailash is fiercely revered as the sacred abode of Lord Shiva and goddess Parvati. It's seen as a place of ultimate cosmic meditation. Then, for Buddhists, the mountain is deeply associated with Mount Meru, which is literally the cosmic center of the universe, the axis the whole world revolves around. Over in Jainism, the surrounding region is tied directly to the spiritual liberation of Rishabhadeva, their very first Tirthankara, making it this ultimate site of enlightenment. And for followers of Bon, Tibet's ancient pre-Buddhist spiritual tradition, well, the mountain has been a sacred center of power since long before any other major religion even arrived. We are talking about billions of people across these 4 distinct faiths, united by an overwhelming reverence for this one specific piece of geography.
Section 2. Legends of the Summit. So how exactly does a physical place gain this kind of untouchable sacred aura across so many different cultures? Well, it all comes down to the stories that surround it.
One of the most famous legends comes from the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, and it's a truly epic clash of spiritual titans. The story goes that there was this fierce, magical competition between a renowned Buddhist master named Milarepa and a powerful Bon practitioner named Naro Bonchung. Both were out to prove absolute spiritual supremacy over the region. But instead of fighting with weapons, they literally raced each other toward the summit of the sacred mountain, using their mystical powers to see who was actually superior.
And, spoiler alert, legend says Milarepa ultimately reached the top first, defeating Narabonchung in this grand magical duel. Now, whether this story is historical fact or pure spiritual mythology isn't really the point. The legend shows us that for centuries, Kailash wasn't just seen as a mountain made of stone and snow, it was considered the exact meeting place of the physical and spiritual worlds, a place where the rules of normal reality simply do not apply.
And speaking of things beyond normal reality, there's the legend of Shambhala. According to Tibetan Buddhist traditions, Shambhala is a legendary spiritual kingdom, hidden somewhere beyond the ordinary world, a place of pure peace and ancient wisdom. Over time, modern theories have eagerly tried to connect Mount Kailash directly to Shambhala, suggesting the mountain might actually be a gateway. Now, strictly historically speaking, there's absolutely no solid evidence of a physical hidden city inside the mountain. But think about why we're so drawn to this idea. It perfectly captures humanity's universal desire to find magic in isolated places. The idea of a hidden kingdom inside a sacred mountain in one of the most untouched places on Earth, it's just endlessly fascinating.
Section 3. Geography and Strange Symmetries. The mysteries aren't just mythological though, they're actually woven right into the physical rock itself.
From certain angles, the mountain appears remarkably, almost artificially symmetrical. I mean, it features 4 distinct, steep faces, which immediately draws comparisons to a giant stepped pyramid. And incredibly, those 4 faces align almost perfectly with the 4 cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. Since the number 4 has profound cosmic meaning in Hindu and Buddhist traditions, these startling geometric features have caused online theories to absolutely run wild, claiming Kailash is an artificial structure built by a lost civilization. Actually, scratch that. Geologists have studied this extensively. They confirm with absolute authority that it is completely natural, formed by massive tectonic shifts and thousands of years of glacial erosion. But natural or not, its striking shape is undeniably unique.
Then we have the legends that defy science entirely. The time mystery. Perhaps one of the strangest, most persistent myths is the claim that time actually behaves differently near the mountain. You'll hear stories of explorers returning from the region experiencing unusually fast hair and nail growth, almost as if their biological clocks have been violently sped up. This has led to all sorts of wild theories about strange magnetic fields, vortexes, or unexplained energy surrounding the peak. To be totally clear, there is no reliable scientific evidence proving time moves differently here. But as a piece of modern mythology, it is incredibly captivating and adds a huge layer of thrill to the mountain's aura.
The surrounding geography holds some really stark contrasts, too. Take Lake Manasorovar, located just at the base of the region. In Hindu tradition, it's highly sacred, associated with purity, light, and the cleansing of sins. Yet sitting remarkably close by is Lake Rakshastau. This neighboring lake is traditionally associated with darkness and the mythical demon king Ravana. You have these 2 massive bodies of water sitting right next to each other in this high-altitude desert, yet visually and thematically, their spiritual meanings are total, undeniable opposites: light and life, right next to shadow and chaos.
The mountain also plays magnificent tricks with the light. Under specific lighting conditions, particularly at sunset, the natural arrangement of deep ravines and shadow creates a striking illusion on the mountain's face. Many observers believe it perfectly resembles a giant swastika. Now, in Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and other ancient traditions, this is a highly revered symbol of auspiciousness, prosperity, and good fortune. While there is obviously no evidence the mountain was deliberately carved this way, that natural resemblance definitely adds yet another profound layer to the mountain's mystique for those making the journey.
Section 4. The climbing controversy. This brings us right to the exact point where modern exploration violently clashes with ancient traditions.
The crucial thing to understand is how believers actually interact with this mountain. They do it through a kora. That's a ritual journey or pilgrimage where devotees walk completely around the sacred mountain, rather than attempting to climb it. For millions of believers, scaling Mount Kailash is just not a challenge to be conquered. The mountain is a sacred temple to be respected from the ground. And let me tell you, this is not an easy walk. The kora covers over 50 kilometers of treacherous, high-altitude terrain, pushing pilgrims to their absolute physical and mental limits. Some even complete the entire circuit doing full-body prostrations on the freezing ground. Just completing this grueling circular pilgrimage is itself considered a profound spiritual achievement.
It's a massive contrast. Think about Mount Everest. In modern culture, Everest is the ultimate physical test, right? A summit to aggressively conquer. It represents human endurance and triumph over nature. But Kailash is entirely different. It is a summit to respect. Climbing it isn't seen as a challenge, it's considered a direct violation of its deep spiritual significance. It'd be like scaling the roof of a magnificent cathedral just to say you did it. Over the years, stories have popped up about arrogant climbers who supposedly tried to reach the summit and were turned back by sudden massive storms. While those are hard to historically verify, the bottom line remains: the ethical culture here firmly forbids conquest. The world has collectively agreed to leave this one peak alone.
Section 5. The ultimate mystery. Let's pull back for a second and look at the broader philosophical takeaway of this explainer.
What is the real mystery of Mount Kailash? Is it the legends of magical battles, the wild theories about time speeding up, or is it this? How did one incredibly isolated mountain become fiercely sacred to multiple civilizations separated by language, geography, and history? To me, that is the true marvel. Mount Kailash doesn't actually need supernatural explanations to be powerful. Its extraordinary, imposing landscape and thousands of years of shared human mythology have united the reverence of humanity for millennia.
So I want to leave you with this powerful question to reflect on. Is the greatest mystery what actually lies at the top of the mountain? Or why humanity has looked toward it for thousands of years? Maybe one day modern science will answer every geographic question surrounding Kailash. Or maybe some mysteries are simply meant to remain untouched. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I hope this sparked your curiosity